Millions of people all over the United States are concerned about what is potentially coming. Donald Trump, the new president of the United States, has signed several executive orders, and he's not done. He is going to continue to make changes and roll back some of the Biden changes that did occur over the previous 4 years. But what we're also hearing is that Donald Trump doesn't want to actually impose tariffs on China, which could improve the U.S. economy. Or we're also hearing that there's a very good chance on February 1st, Donald Trump and the Trump administration are going to impose a 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico, mainly because they're allowing illegal immigrants into the U.S. So we're going to see what happens. But the big concern right now is that there are multiple warning signs that are flashing red that look very similar to the 2008 financial crisis. So I'm going to break all this down, explain what is going on, and tell you how you can become better prepared for what's about to come in the next handful of months. So we'll see what's going to happen, but I'll break all this down in just a moment. All I ask is one thing. Takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So let's talk about a couple of the biggest stories going on right now. The first one, which is something that Donald Trump has not really addressed yet, but it could be bigger than just him. What we have known for the past couple of years is that many banks are going to feel a lot of pressure. And they're going to feel pressure because of commercial mortgages. We know that about $1.5 trillion in commercial real estate has to be refinanced over the next several months. And if it doesn't, these banks are going to be stressed. They will be stretched completely, some of which are going to go under. If banks go under, there will be bank runs. There will be Americans that will not trust the banking system. And it's not because President Trump or former President Biden. It's all because of the current system. That's it. But look at this. There's also reports recently that says the U.S. housing market is mirroring the 2008 bubble. Now, what we have seen recently is real estate prices continue to go up. That's insane because there's a housing shortage. Real estate prices are going up. But here's the problem. The American people don't have the money to pay for the elevated prices. They don't have the money to make a down payment on some of these homes. And on top of that, they don't have the monthly income to actually get qualified for some of these payments, especially when we're seeing mortgages around 7%. It's just too much. Now, I want to show you this as well. And what I'm about to show you is interesting because one of the ways I have heard recently that people are paying off debt, like credit cards, they're buying cars, they're paying or making their down payment on their dream home, right? All these people are doing one thing in common, many of which are cashing money out of their 401k, right? Getting out of the stock market, right? They're liquidating some of their portfolios. That's what they're doing. Well, look at this. It says Jamie Dimon says, and he's the CEO of JP Morgan, he says the U.S. stock market is kind of inflated. It goes on to say that JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon on Wednesday called the U.S. stock market inflated and said he felt more cautious than others in the business world. Okay. What we are about to see is especially if the stock market doesn't continue to go up and up and up. Right now, you can't really see it. I'll pull it down so you can see it right here. It says S&P 500 inches higher to new record. Okay, heads for second big week gain in a row. Okay, that could be good, but at the same time, the American people are using this growth from their portfolios in order to fund their lives today. And I said this last year, there were many people that went through the same experience. They actually liquidated a lot of their portfolio. They sold their 401k. got out of it. But why? Well, to pay for car payments, to pay for credit cards, pay for utility bills, maybe the late payment on a mortgage or rent, right? They did all these things, some of which actually used the increase to pay for their insurance premiums. But look at this. It says a record number of consumers are making minimum credit card payments as delinquencies also rise. What we have seen over the past several months is that the amount of delinquencies we are getting for credit cards, auto loans, it continues to go up. And one of the reasons that experts were saying that this was likely going to happen is because of the holiday shopping season. People were out there buying like they didn't have less hours at their job. They were purchasing larger, more extravagant gifts than they did years prior. Why? Well, because they had a little bit extra money on their credit card. Right? This might be, and I remember when somebody told me this, I thought this was, well, not the right move, but they said this might be the last good Christmas we have. I don't know what that meant. If they're thinking that their job's going to go away, right? Maybe their kids are moving, they're going off to college, and so they're just going to splurge and give their kids everything this year. I don't know, but I thought that was interesting. Let me read some of these key points though. It says the share of active credit card holders just making minimum payments rose to 10.75% in the third quarter of 2024, the highest ever in data going back to 2012. It says the share of the balances more than 30 days past due rose to 3.52%, an increase from 3.21% for a year-over-year gain of more than 10%. Says even with the rising delinquency rate, it is still well below the 6.8% peak during the 2008-2009 financial crisis and not yet indicative of serious strain. Yeah, if we jumped from 3.52% to 6.8%, that would be troubling. But also keep in mind, back in 2008, the 2008-2009 financial crisis, banks weren't minimizing their risk because nobody saw that financial crisis coming. There was a couple, but the majority didn't see it. And so even though we are currently at 3.52%, what you also need to keep in mind is that banks are not allowing people to get that far behind. They're closing accounts, okay? And when you close accounts, I believe it actually alters this number, okay? So they're closing accounts, they're minimizing risk, and I talked about this, I think a couple weeks ago, where I recently got a letter saying that one of my credit cards, the limit has been dropped. I don't have a higher limit like I used to, and it's a credit card that I use all the time. But again, it just came down. They brought it down to minimize their risk. They brought down that credit limit, right? So it's not as high as it once was. Okay, I understand it. Right? I get it. But here's the thing. If banks didn't do what they're doing or have been doing over the past year, this number would be much higher. And that's the concern, is we are now flashing red, warning signs that we are very close to what it looked like in 2008, 2009. But I want to show you something else as well, because this is potentially where things flip. Look at this. It says CNN is announcing layoffs as part of a further shift to digital business. Think about that for a second. CNN is doing this, right? But what about other companies that have been doing this as well? Going digital. Amazon sells digital books, right? You can get the Kindle editions, right? You can buy stuff on your phone. As far as movies, you don't have to go to Blockbuster, right? It's not there anymore. Hastings, not there, right? Redbox, you can still see the boxes, but they're pretty much out of business, right? You're not going and buying a physical disc. It's digital. The same goes for, and I talked about this the other day. I'll have it here with me, the pennies. But I talked about this a while back. People that are paying with money, with cash. Donald Trump just put out another executive order. Okay? There's a very good chance we go to a digital currency. Okay? We already see this with ledgers and banks and credit card companies, right? Crypto, right? People are making payments with crypto every single day. But here in the U.S. and across the world, we're still paying, in a lot of cases, with cash. Well, here's the problem. And Elon Musk just brought this up. There's a post over on X as well from the Doge account saying that it costs us like what we spent like 170 some million dollars creating pennies, right? To produce pennies. A penny is worth 1 cent. The problem is the cost to have it produced is 3. So according to Elon Musk, maybe that's something we need to look into. Go digital, which means we start to lose out on the cash. Now, I bring this up, this story about creating and further shift towards a digital business because that's what we're about to see. All this stuff that we're seeing, okay, where people are spending on credit cards, they're making minimum payments, some of which are going behind, right? We're seeing everything from the housing market. We've seen what virtual real estate sell over the past several years. It's an interesting time that we're in. So right now, here's my warning to you. Just be prepared. Be prepared. Don't go and quit a job that you've had for your entire life because somebody's is willing to pay you an extra 10 cents an hour. Right? Don't be fooled on, I'm offering these benefits for new hires. Because eventually benefits can go away. Right? You can lose benefits. It can be an enticing idea to get you into the door, right? Bring you over from that company's competitor. But eventually they can say, you know what? Now that we've had you for 6 months, we're actually going to stop paying these benefits, right? No company car, no company cell phone, no gym membership, right? No free childcare. Companies can do that. So again, at this time, just understand there's major changes happening. And they're happening every single day. So, my last warning to you is if you can, pay off debt. I have a very good feeling that the Trump administration is going to put a lot of pressure on the Federal Reserve, that they are going to try to get interest rates down. However, if we bring interest rates down, it's going to cause additional spending, which means we will see additional inflation. So, there has to be some balance here. I just don't know exactly where it's coming from or what it's going to look like. But as we get more information and more updates as to what is going on, I promise I will bring you all the latest news and updates as soon as we get it. But that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.